Today I'm going to show you how you can use short form videos on TikTok and Instagram to build a profitable six-figure business with content marketing. Now this video is for beginners, so whether you've never heard of content marketing before or you've heard of content marketing but just don't know where to start, then rest assured you've come to the right place. In this video we're going to walk through everything from the fundamental principles of marketing to breaking down the science of why videos actually go viral, all the way to landing your very first client. But I do want to make something clear before we start. This isn't going to be a fast-paced surface level video engineered for retention. This is going to be an in-depth, tactical, step-by-step breakdown for people who are serious about learning the exact systems, processes, and strategies that I use to grow my own content marketing business from $0 all the way up to and past $50,000 in recurring monthly revenue. And if you are one of those people, my promise to you is that by the end of this video, you will be able to go away and launch your own content marketing business with confidence and clarity. So please, I invite you to grab a pen and paper, maybe a coffee if you're a bit of a caffeine addict like myself, and let's dive in. All right, let's look at module 1, which is understanding marketing and content marketing and what's the difference between the two. So if we're talking about marketing, it's a complex topic these days, but at its core, marketing is just a way of connecting a business and a buyer. It is the act of promoting a product, tool, or service and influencing the right audience to take action. So brands like Apple, McDonald's, Starbucks, Subway, they've been around for decades. The reason we know so much about them is through marketing. They've bombarded our TVs, our radio stations, billboards. Everywhere we look, we see these brands, and that's marketing. So marketing is not a new thing. However, times are changing and the forms of marketing are changing drastically. So that's where content marketing comes in, which is something that's popped up recently and it's snowballing really quick. People are catching on and putting out more content, only becoming a bigger form of marketing that people are starting to adopt very aggressively. So content marketing is simply just a modernized and superior approach to marketing that involves the use of organic short-form content. So we're talking TikTok, Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts to achieve the exact same outcome. So we're trying to post this content to influence a buyer to purchase whatever a business is selling. Anytime you watch a video, this is a form of content marketing. Don't get me wrong, some people just post content for the sake of posting content. But what you'll find nowadays is most of the time you're just watching ads that are disguised as organic content. Now, the reason why I believe content marketing is far superior compared to other traditional forms of marketing is the way you can generate attention is just insane. If we look at a billboard, billboards are everywhere. Like you might be driving on the freeway and you see a big billboard of a company promoting their product. The only issue with this form of marketing is it's location dependent. Only people that drive that road will actually see this business. However, if we compare that to something like content marketing, the ceiling is infinitely high. You can reach anyone in the world by posting content. A recent favorite example of mine is Marty Supreme and how it was dubbed the greatest campaign or marketing campaign of the 2000s era. I looked at this and I was so fascinated by it because I knew what was going on, but a lot of people didn't. People were going crazy because they were like, wow, I can't open my phone or I can't stop seeing Marty Supreme. And it was not achieved through a billboard or paid advertising. Basically what happened was Timothée Chalamet went on this massive tour of doing these crazy stunts to promote Marty Supreme. They came out with these tracksuits that had Marty Supreme all over it. They had ping pong balls. They had guys dressed up in suits with ping pong balls on their head. They had blimps flying in the air. He even did a rap video with SD Kid because there was this whole controversy about SD Kid actually being Timothée Chalamet. So they took advantage of that and made a rap video. But what made these things so powerful is whenever he did a stunt, he had teams of people pushing it out on thousands and thousands and thousands of social media accounts. And because everyone's on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, they couldn't go a day without seeing promotion for this movie. Even when the movie came out, they were still doing promotion of it. Normally, people would put out a movie and just be like, oh, in cinemas now, go watch it. But what they did instead for Marty Supreme is they got people clipping up the best parts of the movie and pushing clips out of this. Traditionally, a lot of movies would be like, oh no, don't do that. Like, that's copyright. Like, don't let them see our movie. But what actually ends up happening is people see all these moments from the movie that are clipped up after the movie's already in cinemas and like go, wow, like this movie looks incredible. Like I have to go see the other hour and a half of it.
White Supremes, white Supremes, white Supremes. My life is an opera. Look at the Oscars, look at the groupies, look at the movies, look at the
You want to get physical?
Like, these edits are honestly the type of videos that got me into the movies watching Marty Supreme. And the best part about it is, instead of paying money to interrupt someone's attention, they're creating content that people actually genuinely want to watch, engage with, and they'll share with other people. Like, this has got 12,700 shares. Like, think about it. Who would ever watch an ad and go like, wow, this is a great ad, I'm going to share this to a friend? Like, no one does it. Again, you don't need a huge advertising budget. This is not something that someone's paid millions and millions of dollars to put an ad on TV or a radio station, or even on Facebook ads or Google ads. So content marketing is great for businesses, but why is it good for you? Well, first of all, content marketing isn't just a good business model. It is hands down the best way to make money in 2026, full stop. And the reasons why are, number one, it's got a really low barrier to entry. If we look at most business models online right now, talk about e-com, you got to dump thousands of dollars into Facebook ads to promote probably a shitty product. There's other businesses that have low barriers to entry, but realistically, they're just fucking boring. Like, if we're talking about starting an email marketing agency, like, come on, what are we doing? You could also start a Facebook ads agency that people like to do, but this is just so saturated and competitive, where there's that many, like, you're competing with so many agencies that are already offering this service. Realistically, for content marketing, I can only name not even a handful of people in Australia right now that are genuinely skilled at this. So who knows what that's going to be like in the whole entire world. The reason why I say it's got a low barrier to entry is it requires no upfront capital. And if you've got one of these right here, you can get started. Number two, you barely even need to learn a new skill. If we think about it, most people are already creating content and have the skill already. They just don't know it. You've probably already posted a Snapchat video, made an Instagram post, posted things on your story. Me personally, I used to make gaming montages. I used to make video edits for fun. Did I know that was a skill that would turn into what it has become today? Absolutely not. A lot of you watching this right now are already in this position. You have the skill, you just don't realize that you can monetize it. Number three, every business needs it, but most can't execute. So we talk about why content marketing is so good, and you're probably thinking, well, why isn't every business owner doing this? In reality, 99% of businesses aren't doing it, but they want to be doing it. I promise you, every business owner right now has someone in their industry that is killing it with content, and they want the same for their business, but they can't for two reasons. They don't know how, and they don't have the time. And following on from not having the time, they don't have the time to figure out how to do it, but they want the results still. So they're willing to empty their pockets and pay someone to do it for them. You don't even have to sell it, because people already want to pay for it. They just don't have people to pay to do it. A lot of problems with other business models is it's so hard to sell a service. People have been burnt by ads agencies before. They don't really care about having a Google SEO agency run their... I don't even know what SEO agencies do nowadays. I'm pretty sure most of them are just scamming. Which brings me to my next point of why it's such a good business model. There's a huge discrepancy between supply and demand. The demand of businesses that want this service is up here, but the supply of who can actually provide it is down here. Like I said, I could name less than 5 people in Australia right now that could genuinely supply this service at a high level. To give you some context, there's 2.7 million businesses in Australia. So if we talk about the demand being 2.7 million and the supply being literally less than 5 people. Number 5, the reason why this is such a good business model is you're able to charge very high prices because of the value you are providing. If we think about other business models, again, paid ads and SEO and things like that, they only really do one thing, which is drive revenue. But the best part about content is it not only drives revenue, it also builds massive brand awareness for the person. It also opens them up to building a personal brand. It allows them to attract talent to their company. Because you're providing this much value, you can charge a lot of money for it. Number 6 is traveling and being able to create relationships with tons of businesses and people. I've traveled all around the world for content marketing. I regularly travel interstate all around Australia to create content for businesses. And I personally like to target only high ticket businesses. This is great because I drive a lot of revenue, meaning I can charge high prices to these people. But the other thing that's even better than this is the relationships I build. I have relationships in real estate, in finance, in trading, in fitness, literally so many different industries with people that are making millions and millions of dollars every single year. So having the skill of being able to create content for other people has allowed me to build relationships with people that other people would pay tens of thousands of dollars to even speak to. Number 7, you get to create content for a living without selling out or showing your face. People think the only way to make money on social media is becoming an influencer. And I'm here to tell you it's not. The past 3 years up until now is the first time that I've actually shown my face on social media. All that time I was orchestrating all the content for these businesses behind the scenes without showing my face. So the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to be an influencer. Instead, you can become a content marketer. And the benefits of that is you don't have to push shitty products. And on top of that, you make way more money because you're so much more valuable. Let's talk about how to make viral content that converts. So content marketing is the skill of turning attention into income for businesses. So we need to learn how to create content that reaches a lot of people and the right types of people. A big common mistake I see people is they approach social media, they start social media agencies, and all they do is focus on attention and getting the most amount of views. Don't get me wrong, going viral and getting attention is very important. But if you're going viral for the wrong reasons, it can actually be drastically bad. And I'll give you a good example. I see a lot of real estate agents, and unfortunately, because they're so desperate to get on social media because everyone's telling them how good it is and how they're seeing other people succeed with it, they'll go out and pay any social media agencies to help them out. And what ends up happening is these social media agencies will just copy TikTok trends. There might be the latest TikTok dance that's going viral, and they go, hey, real estate agent, you need to do this TikTok dance because it's going viral on TikTok. So the real estate agent does it. Now there's 2 outcomes that happen here. Number 1, the video does great. It performs, it does 1 million views. The problem with that is now 1 million people have just seen you dance on TikTok. So out of those 1 million people, how many people are going to now buy a home off you or use you to sell their home? Absolutely zero, because 11-year-olds are watching these TikTok dances. Now, let's talk about the other outcome that could happen from there. You do a TikTok dance and it flops. It doesn't go viral. You only get 400 views. You've now danced on TikTok for 400 views. Both outcomes are just stupid. Like, there is no benefit of that, okay? So when starting this business, I want to make it very clear. Do not chase going viral for the sake of it, because a lot of the time, I hate seeing it because these poor real estate agents just look absolutely stupid. What you need to be doing is thinking about whoever you work with, think about who their customer actually is. If it's a real estate agent, they're trying to target people who want to sell their homes. That's how they make their money. So all you should be doing with the content is creating content that actually speaks to that person and trying to maximize the total amount of views you can get while still targeting that person. That way you're going to create content that not only gets views, but actually drives revenue and money in the door for that real estate agent. So I just wanted to make that very clear. Now, to do that and create that content, we first need to understand how the algorithm actually works. So one thing you need to note, and anyone I start working with or work with, I tell them that you need to stop being emotional when you create content. A lot of people, and I see it a lot with videographers as well, they spend hours filming like the most perfect cinematic video and spending another 4 hours color grading it and another 4 hours making the keyframes absolutely perfect. And what ends up happening is the video gets 200 views. And they go, the algorithm hates me, like I'm shadow banned, like this is bullshit, I made the best video ever, and it only got 200 views. And the problem is they react very emotionally to the performance of their videos. And instead of changing how they create the content, they fully believe that their way of creating content is the best. Yet it's getting 200 views. If you're getting 200 views, you need to stop thinking emotionally and start thinking logically. What am I doing wrong in my videos that I need to change in order to get more views? Or what's working in my videos that I can continue doubling down on to continue increasing the amount of views I get on my videos? So there's a big thing I tell people: don't be emotional when creating content. If you can make 1% improvements every time you post a video, you do that for 6 months, you're going to be in a much better place than the person that says, I'm shadow banned, the algorithm hates me. And they'll continue to stay at 200 views whilst you've improved every single day for 6 months. You're going to be in a far greater place. So that's first part, stop being emotional. The second part is a lot of people like to say, getting views on social media or going viral is just lucky, okay? But I promise you, going viral is actually a science and it's not a coincidence. Every social media platform has an algorithm which determines whether or not the video performs. All we need to do is understand what does the algorithm want from your videos, and once we understand this, we can go viral again and again and again. So simply put, the algorithm's job is to keep users on the platform for as long as possible. The reason for this is the longer people stay on the app, the more ads they watch equals the more money the platforms make. So naturally, it makes sense for these platforms to push videos that have high watch times. Knowing this, we need to engineer the videos we make to serve the algorithm what it wants. The most important signal to the algorithm is this: watch time and retention. I like to tell people you want to aim for over 100% retention in every video. If you do that, you're going to land in a good place. Most of the time, you're not going to hit whatever you're aiming for. If you're aiming for 70 or 80% retention or watch time, you might land anywhere between 50 and 60, and that's just not going to cut it. Now, I'm going to get into how to structure your videos for high retention in just a second, but that's what you need to know first and foremost is stop being emotional. Second, focus on watch time and retention, because like I said, that's what the algorithm wants. If it can get more videos like this, it's going to keep people on the app, watching more ads, making them more money. So they're going to focus on pushing these videos. The next metric is swipe away rate. So everyone talks about how important the hook is. So this refers to swipe away rate from a metric standpoint. Now, swipe away rate is the percentage of people that are shown your video but immediately swipe to the next video. So you want to aim for a swipe away rate of above 80%. This is a pretty good place to be. That means 20% of the viewers actually swiped off the video, 80% stayed to watch. Again, aim for 100%, but if you're getting above 80, you're in a good spot. Now, this is so important because obviously we need people to watch our video, which is our hook. If we can hook people in the first 1 to 3 seconds, it sets us up for having a high watch time, which is obviously what we need to go viral and get the results we're after. The third metric is shares. Shares are an underrated metric which platforms love, and I'll tell you why. Think about Instagram. Your friend might watch a reel and think it's really funny, and they'll send it to you. And they go, bro, this is so funny, like I'm dying laughing. And you'll get that notification on your phone. And what happens is you'll see it, you'll click on it, you'll watch the reel and go, ha ha ha, bro, that was so funny. But before you send that message, you probably spent another 15 minutes just scrolling along through your feed and you didn't even realize it. So platforms love shares because it brings people onto the app, which again leads to more people staying on the app, watching more ads and making them more money. So an underrated metric is shares. Now let's talk about how a video actually goes viral. And there's a few phases to this. I've put in 5 here. The scale of this is infinite, but it'll give you a good breakdown of how it actually works. So whenever you post a video, you'll notice, especially on TikTok, it usually gets pushed out to a minimum of 200 people watching it, okay? If you're not getting 200 views, you're probably shadow banned or something like that. But at a bare minimum, the video gets showed to 200 people. What's actually happening here is TikTok or Instagram, they're testing your video with a pool of 200 people. And basically, if your video goes to those 200 people and they enjoy watching your video, they're going to push it to the next phase, which is 1,000 views. And they're going to test your video with 1,000 different people and see how they react to it. Again, if they like that video, the algorithm goes, okay, people are starting to enjoy watching this video. Let's test it with 10,000 views. And the process just repeats. 10,000 people, oh, okay, the algorithm's seeing people enjoy it. They're going to push it to 100,000 and then 1 million. Now, this is a really good example and breakdown of the algorithm doesn't hate you. They're actually heavily incentivized to push good content. If you make good content on their platform, it only benefits them. So if you have a video that people are really enjoying and it's keeping them on the app engaged and retained on the app, they're going to push that content. They're incentivized to do it because they make more money as a result of doing that. So we know how the algorithm works and what it's looking for, but how do we actually structure a video to achieve this virality? So I've broken it down into 4 simple steps. Number 1, which a lot of people obsess over, is the hook. So this is a pattern interrupt that creates curiosity, tension, and or adds stakes to the video. Now, people like to achieve this through a few methods. They might make a bold claim. They might challenge a belief. They might open a loop. They might do a question hook. For example, a bold claim might be, this YouTuber made $10 million from this one video. As a viewer, they might see the start of that video and go, what? Seriously, how did they do this? How did this YouTuber make $10 million from one video? Like, that's insane. I got to watch this video to find out more. Or B, everything you've been told about growing a YouTube channel is wrong. From a viewer's perspective, they might go, what? Why is it wrong? What am I missing from my YouTube videos? Therefore, again, getting them to watch the video. Or C, this video got 50 million views for one specific reason and nobody has picked up on it. Viewer goes, what was the reason? I have to watch this video again to find out what it is. Or D, why do some creators go viral straight away while others struggle for years? The viewer thinks, damn, why do some creators go viral while others struggle for years? They want to find out the cheat code that is inside this video. So that's the hook. Now the hook's very important, don't get me wrong. But if you focus all your attention on just the hook and forget about the rest of the video, it's still not going to perform. You might have a great hook that keeps people engaged for 3 seconds, but if they don't watch the other 27 seconds of your video, it's still going to flop. So what you want to do with your hook is not only grab attention, but make them want to watch to the end. So that brings us to our next point, number 2, which is progression, retention, and value. So what you want to do is you want to delay the payoff until the end and reveal information in a structured, timely manner. So if you look at a hook, for example, this video got 50 million views for one specific reason and nobody has picked up on it. If I was to immediately then go in the video and say, this is the reason, like straight away, this is the reason, and explain why it's the reason, people would only stay for the reason. That's why they're watching the video. So if we think about it from a watch time perspective, you don't want to reveal it all at the start. You want to get them watching till the end. So how you want to structure it is have your hook and have a build up to your payoff, which is revealing the one specific reason why the video got 50 million views, okay? Now, I could go on and on again about different ways of structuring videos and all these different ways because there's an infinite amount of ways of doing it. But all it really comes down to, and all you need to remember at the end of the day, is you're trying to get a viewer from the start all the way to the end. You can come up with whatever you want as long as it achieves that objective. Obviously, the third is the payoff. So like I said, have your hook, have your middle part leading up to it, and then you have your payoff at the end. So that's basically the emotional release that ties back to the hook. An open loop is closed and the viewer finally received the answer of how the video got 50 million views, okay? Your fourth part about it, and this is pretty important if you're marketing for a business, like if we're creating attention, obviously we want to drive this traffic somewhere. So you can put a CTA at the end of the video. Another thing I like to do is do loops. So you'll see videos that just seamlessly, and I'll put an example up here, they seamlessly end at the end and start again without the viewer realizing. You need a viewer to watch from the start all the way to the end and then actually watch the video again. And loops are really effective in just bumping up the watch time because people don't even know they're watching a video again. So now you understand what makes videos go viral, but attention alone and having this skill won't actually get you paid. The next step we're going to talk about is actually turning the skill of making videos go viral into a repeatable system that can generate consistent results for businesses. Whenever I bring a new client on, I have the exact same system and process to deliver the results for them. I've bundled this up into my content marketer blueprint, which we're going to break down right now for you. To note, this is a step-by-step system that you are going to use once you land your first client. Now, obviously, you're in a position where you don't have any clients, but don't worry, that's also going to be covered in this video as well, which is Module 3 Client Acquisition. I want you to imagine, for the sake of this exercise, you already have your first client and you're going to take them through this process. So step 1 is onboarding. The first thing you'll need to do after you've signed your first client is collect a bunch of information. Now, onboarding is really important. We want to get to creating the fun viral content and things like that, but we need to do a few things first. And onboarding is really important to have a great client experience. You want to onboard them nice and smoothly in a professional way that makes them feel like, okay, I'm with the right person. Now, the way we do this is I have a template I use. Basically, first things first, I will get them set up in a WhatsApp group chat where we can do all our communication through. You can use things like Slack, Discord even. I just personally like to use WhatsApp. I'm not a big fan of Slack, but realistically, you can use whatever you want. You need a place to communicate with your client. The next thing you want to do is set up a Google Drive folder. This is where you're going to store all your content. And you also want to use Frame.io. Frame.io is a really good software that we use every single day as a way of uploading content and finished videos that you can actually leave comments on. So it makes it really easy to provide feedback on videos. So there's some basic admin tasks just to set up communication and file management. The next thing you want to do in onboarding is actually get some information about them. You can't possibly market their business without knowing what they do, how they do it, and what they actually want to achieve from social media. These are really important things. For the third one, you'll notice that a lot of the time it's really just like get more views and make more money, okay? So like I said, it's important to understand who their customer is so we can tailor the content towards them. So what I like to ask them is like, what does your business do? I ask them to give me their offer/product/service breakdown. So what does your business actually do for their clients? Again, I do this all on a call with them. So I go through this document with them. I ask them, what are 5 to 10 niche subtopics you want to make content about? For example, I might have a fitness client and their niche subtopics they talk about are weightlifting, nutrition, cardio, protein, macros. The reasons why we want to get these subtopics is we need to create content that's relevant to what the customer wants. So if you think about someone a fitness coach targets, they're probably targeting someone that's overweight and wants to get in shape. They're in the gym, but they don't know how to correctly do form. So they want to see things like how to lift weights, how to do nutrition, how to do cardio, what proteins to eat, what macros to track, things like this. All these niche subtopics are going to attract their ideal customer, which is going to lead to more money to their business. I also get them to explain their story. I like to go from start to finish. A lot of the time for these businesses, I like to create personal content around them, so build their personal brands up. And really effective way of doing this is actually understanding, okay, what's their story? And from there, you'll get a lot of content ideas that you can speak about. To give you a good example of the type of content I produce, I do a lot of story content of like, my name's Sam, I was a video editor and this is what I'm doing now. It allows people to see, what does this guy do? What service does he provide? How can he help me? And also just build trust between the viewers and me. If you're just a robot on social media and have no personality, it makes it really hard for people to trust you. People like working with people. So if they can see through your content, hey, this guy seems pretty cool. Like, I like what he's offering and I also like him as a person. It makes it that much easier to convert them into a client. So it's really effective to ask them about their story so you can create content around that. I also ask them for any creators they like in their space, as this allows us to sort of see what type of content they like and what they could see them producing themselves. So these are a few things I would include in your onboarding form. If you want a template to this, I'll leave it in the description so you can access it as well. So that's step one, which is onboarding. The next step is research and ideation. So this is where we actually generate the ideas that we're going to produce for the client that month. And I have a few methods of doing this. For example, we have keyword research, we have burner research, and we have passive research. I'll break down what each one is, and then I'll actually do a live keyword research for you guys so I can show you how it actually works. So we'll come back to keyword research. Burner research is essentially starting a completely fresh Instagram profile, for example. Say you bring on, again, a fitness client. What you can do is start a brand new Instagram page. And when you start it, all you want to do is search for fitness related content. Eventually what will happen is that account and its algorithm will be trained to only show you fitness content, which is great because you can see what's actively working and what are the most viral videos that are performing week in, week out that you can recreate for your client. Passive research just comes down to, and it's actually really important, a lot of people just doom scroll. Now, I wouldn't really encourage scrolling on social media at all, but if you're going to do it, at least do it with something that can positively benefit you. And what I mean by this is anytime I view social media content, I'm always viewing it with the lens of what did this person do to make this video perform on social media, and how can I replicate it or use it in my videos or my clients' videos to achieve the same result. So that's passive research. You're looking for what people are doing that's working, and also content ideas as well. I like to have on my Instagram account folders for every single one of my clients, and whenever I see a good video that I think could work for someone, I save that video to that folder. So I'm not going to encourage doom scrolling, but if you can make something positive come of it, it's always a good thing. Let's get into actually research and keyword research. I'll break down live for you guys. I'm going to screen record my phone and take you through how I go about doing it. All right, so I've got the research document up on my phone here. I'm going to run through how it all works. But this is honestly one of the best things we've used to generate millions and millions and millions of views for our clients. If you want access to this template, I'm going to leave a link to my Instagram channel in the description here. If you just DM me the word research sheet, I'll send it to you on there. But let's break it down. So this is the research sheet here. What I'm going to do first is do keyword research, and then I'm going to show you how I actually utilize this sheet to keep track of the videos we're making. Let's take the example of a fitness creator again. So like I said, we've got those what you can use is the subtopics you had in the onboarding sheet, which might be nutrition, exercises, weightlifting, diet, all those types of things. You want to utilize these keywords, and you can also go to ChatGPT and ask it to generate a list of keywords for you that you can use to search on social media. So for the purpose of this, it might be fitness. Let's type nutrition, for example. That's where we'll start our keyword research. Now, when you type in nutrition on Instagram, what it does is it brings up a For You page of literally all the top performing videos for that keyword. And the reason why this is so good is because it gives us prime examples of viral content that people already enjoy watching that we can use to recreate for our client. So we've got here, beautiful, like that video's got 1.5 million views there. So what I'll do is I'll copy the link to that video and I'll go to my research sheet and I'll type in here. I'll add the link in and I'll type the title of the video. So I'll say, what each macro does. So that's sort of the title of the video, and I'll leave a link to it. And the hook is carbs give you energy. So I'll just do the hook of it. Now this video is a bit random because it doesn't really have a solid hook. It just kind of gets straight to it. But to give you an example, that's what the hook of the video is. So I write in the hook. We want to keep a track and a list of hooks that are working in the industry, because we can always go back to this sheet and just essentially use or utilize the hooks in other videos. You want to make the list of views it has, which is 1.5 million. You want to link the page of it, which again brings us to our top creators. You want to link the page here because if we're starting to see a common theme of the same type of accounts popping up with the best content in this niche, you want to keep a list of them because they're obviously good at making content. Therefore, we can take them and use them for inspiration all the time. The amount of followers she's got is 223K. So I'm going to make a note of that as well. And you can also leave any notes. And then there's a use section here to check off if you ever use that idea in the future. So that's example. Then I'll go back again to my search here. And we've got another video here. This one's got 7.5 million views. Again, you want to copy the link and basically fill out the sheet. I'm not going to fill out this entire research sheet because that would take a couple hours. We don't have time for that today, but essentially all you need to know is that process. Identify keywords that are relative to your client's industry. Search them on Instagram and TikTok. Find the best performing videos for those keywords. Copy the link and fill out them in this sheet. This gives us, if you do this for a few hours with every client, you're not only going to see what the best performing content is within the niche, it's going to give you so many ideas of content you can create. And I always like to say the best way to get good at content is by viewing good content. So by doing this, you see the best performing content in all these different industries. That's going to get you really up to scratch of what content is working right now to make you a better content marketer at the end of the day. So you want to fill out this sheet, do this and get a list of 50 to 100 video ideas. Also make a list of the top creators in your niche, and that's going to give you a great foundational point to start making content for these businesses that you're working with. Now, step 3 is script writing, and there are a ton of ways to write a script. You can do things like hook, value, CTA. You can do another thing like problem, escalation, solution, which I like to call PES. Again, there's so many different ways of writing scripts, but all it comes down to is you want to write these scripts in a way that carries a viewer from the start all the way to the end. Now, my biggest advice to anyone starting out is just copy what's already working, okay? The way you can do this is using a software tool called Clipto.ai. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a transcription of what's actually said in the video. Now, the reason this is very effective is we know this video has already performed. Therefore, we know we can make an educated guess that people actually like viewing this type of content. And that means the script of the video is very good. So by knowing this, we can copy the same structure of this viral video. And instead of saying what the creator said, we can keep the structure and just replace it with our own client's expertise or opinion on whatever the topic is. Just copy what's already working, copy the structure of these videos, and replace it with your own information. That's going to be a great baseline for script writing. The next step of this process, of this system, is actually filming the content. Filming is one of the best parts of this job. You get to go out, you get to meet the people. I'm really happy if you get to this point because it's an awesome experience. I remember one of my favorite moments ever was when I first got flown out to Sydney. I was on the plane and I was like, wow, my life is flying interstate to make content for people. It was beautiful. So what you want to be doing when you're filming is filming all the content in just one day. It's beneficial for you as a content marketer and also for a business owner. A business owner has to run a business, okay? They're really busy people, so they can't afford to be spending multiple days out of the month creating content. And it also allows you to grow your business really quickly as you have capacity to take people on. Now, you do not need to overcomplicate filming. You're obviously seeing me film on like a nice setup, but the bare minimum is an iPhone, a set of Bluetooth mics, and a tripod. The next upgrades you can make is a nice set of lighting, a nice camera, a nicer tripod, some nice lenses, things like that, okay? But you do not need to overcomplicate that. If you just have the bare minimum, it's enough. Like I said, I generated over 100 million views for one client with just this phone, okay? The next step is editing. There are two components when it comes to editing. Number one is storytelling, so feeling, emotion, coherence. The other two is retention, which is removing dead space and having tight pacing. Editing is very important because it brings all the work you've done up until this point might be for nothing if you have a poor edit. So the editing just brings it all together. The two things you're trying to focus on is storytelling. So you want to make sure that the script comes to life. If you're I like to have the rule of whatever's being said in the content, I want to match it with a B-roll. So if I'm talking about this is how I went from a video editor to a content marketer, I might have a B-roll of me as a video editor and then me filming content for clients. I like doing things like that in the edit. But essentially you're trying to create a story from the video and make it a really enjoyable video for people to watch. The next step is retention, and retention is one of the most important factors of the edit. You want to be cutting out any dead space in the video and keep tight pacing. If you're having a video that's drawn out and there's heaps of gaps and spaces and it's really slow to watch, people are just going to get bored and swipe off. There's a few things I've noted here that you want to focus on when it comes to editing. Number one is the A-roll. So this is just the basic footage. What you're looking at right now is A-roll. The next thing is B-roll. So that's anything we put on top of the video. It might be things like I said, when I'm talking about content marketing, I might put a video of me filming a client and things like that. So it helps visualize what's being said. It breaks up the talking head footage as well. It adds context and adds to the storytelling, and it helps to maintain viewer attention. The next thing is captions. So you'll see all the time that captions are being used on the video. This one helps with keeping a viewer's attention because it allows them to know what's being said in the video a lot easier, and it makes it easier for the viewer to process information. A lot of people like to say as well that people watch social media videos without any sound, so it helps these people actually watch the videos as well. The next thing is music. So I like to always put music on my videos because it just brings the video to life a bit more. It makes it more enjoyable. People resonate with the music that's being played and they might even enjoy the song, which encourages them to watch longer in the video. The next is sound effects as well. Sound effects are great to really aid for retention, and it can add humor to the video if done right. Now, the last step is posting, which is a very simple step, but often overlooked step. We want to make this process as seamless as possible for clients. If a business owner is paying you to do all this work and at the end of the day, he still has to post the videos, it's just like, I promise you, posting videos, it's not fun. It gets really boring, but we get paid to do it. The business owner doesn't like sitting on his phone and spending 10, 15 minutes posting a video. That might not seem like a lot of time, but it can also break up their day a lot and just make it a bit annoying. You don't want it to make it annoying. You just want to make it as seamless as possible. So what you want to do is grab the login details for your client and just handle everything. So now we know how to consistently make good content that has a high chance of performing for our clients, but all of this information you have learned is completely irrelevant, obviously, if you have no one to make content for. So in this final module, we'll cover how to sign your first client, what to charge, and how to retain these clients long-term so this can become a real business for you and not just a side hustle. First step we want to focus on is crafting your offer and packaging it properly. So traditional social media services fail because they operate in isolation. I like to talk about this all the time. Videographers film, editors edit, content creators design, social media managers post. Now with content marketing, we handle absolutely everything, and there's a big reason why. Because when we get results for a business, we are not seen as an expense. Therefore, we can charge far better prices because we are actually providing a valuable service. If we think about all those things I just mentioned, videographers, editors, content creators, social media managers, a lot of the time they are actually just an expense to their client because they're not making them any money in return because they're not producing results, which is a very bad place to be. And a lot of the time clients don't view you as valuable because you're actually genuinely an expense. Every time they pay you, they are losing money. That's a terrible place to be. But as a content marketer, you're an investment because you make them more money when they pay you. The next step is choosing your niche. Now, this is a really, 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 really important decision. This decision determines how much you earn, how easily you earn, how much you work, and how much you burn out. The fatal mistake most people make is they work with low ticket businesses. These are cafes, restaurants, and retail stores. Instead, you want to choose niches that actually make sense. Coaching programs, real estate and mortgages, legal and professional services, fitness programs, B2B services. Now, the reason we do this, if you're working with a cafe, their average order might be a $5 coffee. Let's say you put on a world-class marketing display for them and you get the millions of views. But at the end of the month, they've only sold 1,000 more coffees as a result of what you've done for them. You've now generated them $5,000, which sounds great, but cafes already have low margins as it is. The last thing they're thinking of doing is giving you more money. And at the end of the day, like if you're only making them $5,000, realistically, you can only justify like $1 to $2K a month of that. But if you're working with someone who's a real estate agent, one individual client might pay them $5,000. So for a cafe, you've generated 1,000 customers, but with a real estate agent, you only generated one and they both made the exact same amount of money. What you want to ask yourself before working with a business is, does this client make enough money to justify paying me $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 per month? If they do, great. If they don't, then it might be a little tricky to increase your prices or have a long-term relationship with this business. Now, you know what niche to choose. The next step is, how do we actually get clients, okay? And another mistake people make when they first start out is they chase money instead of chasing proof. What you want to focus on when starting out is free work and building case studies. The quickest path to actually getting paid is doing free work. When you're first starting out, realistically, you have no proof. You have no proof that you can do what you're saying you can do. So why would someone pay you? And even if they do pay you, I'll give you a good example. When I first started out as an editor, I landed my first client for $2,500. And I was over the moon, like it was amazing. But what happened after a month is, because I wasn't that good at what I did, because I just started out, I actually lost that client after a month. And I was right back to square one. So if you're spending all your time trying to land that first client without any proof, what you're missing out on is repetition. By doing free work, you actually get a chance to practice the skills and the system and the content marketer blueprint that we spoke about earlier. And you need that repetition to actually get good at what you do. So the 5 things you want to avoid, and the 5 mistakes I see time and time again from people starting out, is they expect payment without any proof. They do random free work. Again, if you're doing free work, you want to make sure it's aligned with a niche that can actually pay you. The third thing is doing same-day shooting. They'll approach a business and say, hey, I can make social media content for you. Like, let me shoot some videos. The problem is you haven't done any research. You haven't come up with ideas that can actually perform. So You shoot the same day you approach them and the content doesn't turn out great. I would approach a business, offer to do free work, and then come back in 2 days' time once you've come up with a bunch of ideas to film. The fourth is no case study documentation. The fifth thing is staying free for too long. Free work is great, but it's not great if you're doing it 6 months down the line. I would personally rather grind really hard for 1 month as opposed to half-assing it for 6 months and spending 6 months not making any money. So step 4 is landing your first client. And if you've gotten to this point, congratulations. It's one of the most rewarding feelings there is. Getting that first hit, that first big invoice paid, is like no other. It's an amazing feeling. It'll change your life, I promise you. And once you get that first taste of it, you'll never ever go back. Once I did, I never went back to my job again, and I never even thought about it. So there are some things I want to note here, okay? I want you to avoid waiting for the perfect time, waiting for the time where you're like, oh, I finally feel ready. Realistically, you're never actually going to be ready or feel completely ready. The biggest learning comes from just throwing yourselves into situations. Once you have results from the free work, you are ready. And I want to make it clear, just after watching this video now, you are in the top 1% of content marketers in Australia and likely in the world, because majority of people have no idea about this information. So that's one thing. The second thing is avoid overcomplicating your offer. Offer between 15 to 30 videos when you're starting out. This is a great thing. Don't try and add all these crazy things to your offer and think adding more is going to lead to people wanting to work with you. It's just going to make it more complicated, harder to deliver. Keep it simple, keep it repeatable, okay? And the next thing is, do not be scared to charge people money. I promise you, you are worth it. Now, how do we actually go about landing this first paid client? There's a few ways we can do it. Number one, you can upsell your free client into a paid client. The best way to do it is when you approach these free clients, don't say you're a beginner. Say, hey, I run a content marketing agency where I help people create content and market their business on social media. I'd love to offer you some free work in exchange for showing you what I can do. This presents the expectation that you are actually a professional at what you do. You can generate results for them. Because when you approach a business, you're like, oh, I'm just a beginner, I want to build my portfolio. As a business owner, they don't have time to take on trainees. So if you're approaching them like this, they're going to be like, fuck, I don't need a beginner. I don't have time to let someone learn their skills. Approach them like you already are a professional, and they'll automatically take the offer. They'll be like, yeah, I want free content. And they think you're an expert. It doesn't matter that you're not an expert yet, okay? What this also does is it gives the expectation that it's not always going to be free. So after you generate them results, they already have the expectation that it's going to turn into a paid thing, making upselling from a free client into a paid client that much easier. Now, I will note, if you can't upsell that free client into a paid client, it's completely okay, because you now have a case study that you can use to show to other businesses. I will say, like, even now to this day, I still do free work. The reason why I do it is because I back myself and know that I can produce results for people. And sometimes I know that if I land a client, they're going to stay with me for a year. If I'm charging $10K a month, I know that's $120,000 a year that I will land. So I don't mind doing 2 weeks of free work for that result, for that outcome. So don't ever think that free work is below you, because I still do it in my current state. The next step is building your personal brand. This is hands down one of the most valuable things you can do. The reason I didn't grow as quick as I could is because I wasn't building my personal brand. As soon as I started documenting and posting content about what I was doing, my business changed overnight. I have hundreds of people in my DMs right now asking for my services, asking, hey, can I work with you? How can I help? How can you help me? And leads are just coming from everywhere because I started posting content about what I do. I only have 4,000 followers. You'd be so surprised about what the power of social media is. I promise you, just build your personal brand, start documenting what you're doing. Literally just use the same thing you've learned to do with your clients and apply it for yourself. The best pieces of content is showing business owners what it would look like to work with you. And you can do this through day in the life content. You might be like, day in the life of a young entrepreneur that gets paid to create content for business, and you show the process of actually how you create content for that business. That's the best type of content because it shows a business owner what it would look like to work with you. Now, the last step is sales 101. The one thing I'll say about sales, and I am by no means a salesperson. I do not claim to be. I'm a marketer. That's my thing. I rarely lose a sales call for my agency. And the reason this happens is because I spent so much time getting extremely good at what I do, where people will come to me so warm because they know I can generate a result for them, and they don't flinch when I tell them a price of what it costs, okay? So do not focus your attention on sales. Focus your attention on getting your clients results, and that will take care of your sales process. That's my advice for sales. Sure, there's probably millions of videos out there talking about how to objection handle and how to do all these things. None of that actually matters if you can't produce a result. And if you spend all your time focusing on producing a result for clients, I promise you sales will become so simple. Now, if you guys made it this far, you absolutely deserve something. If you DM me the word personal brand on Instagram, which is going to be, my Instagram account is going to be in the description below, I'm going to send you a free template with 5 scripts that I use personally to scale my personal brand and generate leads for my agency. Apart from that, please check out my other YouTube videos, and please, for the love of God, go and start your content marketing business today. Thanks for watching.